So I actually tried to load PDQ Deploy from all those disks. I couldn't find a floppy disk carousel or whatever it's called to plug in.
Whatever it's called.
It's so old I've forgotten what it is.
We're pretty high tech over here.
A disk drive?
Oh, a disk drive. Yeah, that's it.
What was it, the A drive?
The A drive, the floppy disk drive, yeah. So the other thing, Shane was dancing along to the intro. Okay, I was.
Yeah, you were. I was just still
Shane.
shaking my head.
It was horrible.
All right.
So, question, Q&A?
That is a perfect, that opening sequence is why you should never get drunk at work. Hey,
Never
Shane,
drunk at work.
come on in
Check
here for a
this
second.
out, man.
All right, can I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay, here. I am still here. Just wondered. Okay, can
I can
PD...
smell.
Oh,
Boom.
not
Take
through
that one,
glass.
Kelly.
Not through glass you can't.
It was a pleasant smell.
Can PDQ do bulk uninstalls? Sincerely, Dietrich K.
Hey, Dietrich, yes.
Absolutely.
There's a couple of ways you can do it. Next question.
Now, if you have inventory, you can pull up the applications under inventory, and you can right-click on any of these.
And then where the bulk install would come. And now, I guess I should say, what do you mean by bulk? Do you mean multiple computers on the same application, or go ahead and lose that other question? I was just kidding.
Finally, use the highlighter, and what does he do?
All right. So I guess I should say this. What do you mean by bulk? Do you mean multiple computers in the same application, or do you mean multiple applications on the same computer? So if you're talking about the same application across many computers, you can do what Lex was just showing you, but there's a couple of steps. So he just grabbed. I'm not sure what you just grabbed. Okay, a Flash player.
Yeah.
So this is the uninstall for Adobe Flash NP API. If you want to do it this way, there's actually a better uninstall for Adobe.
Yeah, for that one there is.
But you just click uninstall. Now you're doing this to
Get your uninstall
just to do
string.
a copy paste, and if you don't know how to copy paste, probably shouldn't be watching this one.
Pass the IT to the professionals.
So by copying and paste that uninstall string, you can do something like going out. You can just go out to your collection library if you have inventory, enterprise mode, and go down to runtimes, and drill down to Flash for Firefox. This is the latest version. You can just right-click on this collection, all right, and do a tools remote command, because the uninstall from inventory actually instantiates the remote command, and just paste that in there and run, and you'll run it against all those computers. Now that will only work for that particular version of Flash. Most bulk uninstalls, I mean, this is a great way of doing it if you're talking, if you know.
If you're going a specific one,
you have one application pushed out across, grab that collection, or you can do multi-computers if you don't want to do an entire collection. Just do a multi-select, right-click, do a remote command.
Remote command, yeah.
Or use PDQ Deploy. Now, there is an uninstall, for this case, an uninstall Flash package, but basically you can build your uninstall routine into a command step or a PowerShell step, and then just push that out to all the computers that need it removed. Just one little note: if you are just gonna do a kind of a blast, I want to blast out. I'll show you this really quick. You just want to go full contact, do a new package. We're gonna create a new
the nuke.
We're gonna do a new command step and just paste that in there. You're gonna want to do a 1605 for your success code.
Means it's not on the machine.
Yeah, that means if it hits a target where that application and version do not exist, then it'll just return a 1605. If your intent is to remove the application, I would consider that a success if it doesn't already exist. So just a little free nugget of information there. The answer is yes. Now, if you're talking about
bunch of different
applications on a computer, that one you're going to have to be a little bit more selective. All right?
Our next question, dear Shane and Lex, we're currently using Microsoft SCCM. Can we completely rely on PDQ and leave SCCM? We have to make a decision about new installations. What is the best way to achieve imaging or OS deployment using PDQ? Sincerely, Mushtaba M.
You want to take this one?
Well, You can, there's a lot of different imaging options out there. If you are leaving SCCM, you can do fog. We did a webcast on that, and you can actually use fog to do your imaging and deploy to actually deploy your packages and keep those
There's a lot.
updated.
I think one of the takeaways is that PDQ Deploy does not do OS
Imaging.
Imaging. We don't. Yeah, we don't do imaging. We are, we're a management tool after the OS has already been established. So you can add programs, remove programs, make registry changes, etc. You can run, obviously entire scripts, PowerShell scripts, whatever you want. It doesn't have to just be installing software. You can manage an already up and running computer. We don't do OS deployment. So if you're going to leave SCCM, SCCM has the price tag and additional features that we don't have. They have maintenance windows, and there's certain things, there's certain aspects.
It's a complex product that can do complex things, and
if you're just talking about inventory and software deployment and patching and stuff, we're fast,
we're easy,
but
and effective.
Never say easy, and definitely never say we. So anyway.
Oh, really? I've been to the bar with you.
It really depends. Now we go to the best R-rated movies that Europe has to offer.
I'm ending this now.
Was that next question? Is that what that meant?
Anyway, it just depends on what you're using SCCM for, buddy. Go ahead.
Dear Shane and Lex, we use inventory to search for unauthorized media and programs on our network, which consist of hundreds of computers. Can you suggest any techniques to help us improve our ability to filter out mundane/regular content to make our searches more efficient? Sincerely, Abel W.
Well, I'm not sure how you're currently doing it, but you could have a report. You could have a report that contains filters to say don't show me computers that only have these types of software, and you kind of define your baseline. If they have Flash or Java or whatever your baseline is, you can say just don't include these computers in that type of a report, and then it will show computers that have other applications. I would really when you're doing your report and you're saying don't show me computers with these applications or with only these applications, just make sure when you open up inventory. I'll just go to a report real quick. This is an example of a question that was, if you could, I'm not sure when you submitted it, a couple of days before, if it would be great, because then we could actually build some example reports. It's going to take too long to build that right now, but you could do like a basic report that says, exclude some of the excluded good or approved software, and then when you're building your reports, make sure that you're gonna really utilize your group filters. So you're gonna say something like, not any. And then here the application name could be something like contains Flash. I'm just going to throw that out there, right?
So, and how this works is we're going to list all the machines, that first application name that contains Flash, and then return the machines that are not in that group.
Yeah.
That's what that not any is.
Or a little bit more efficient, unfortunately, if you know some especially some low-hanging fruit, don't worry about creating all these different subgroups, and you can just say, any of these. And let's say that you just don't want, the ask toolbar. It contains ask, and you're still using the any, and another one, that might contain XYZ, whatever, and just keep on going down there, and that will show you any computer that has that.
Yep.
So that's actually a great way of doing it as well. There's just the include, the exclude, depends on how you want to approach it. There's going to be some upfront filter building.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to add to that, Chris? All right.
No, all right, moving on.
I was trying to ponder a good way to tie this into PowerShell, because haha, but really it comes down to just if you understand the filters and just kind of sit down and kind of plan it, you can do just about anything you could if you were doing using a SQL report. So
Yeah, it'll just grow as you figure more of the packages that you don't want on there. Yeah.
Yeah, I would personally kind of attack it from the I don't want these applications. You know, search your inventory and say, okay, I definitely don't want this. So build either add that to a master report or just build a report saying, show me any computer that has this, and then you can export that to a collection, make that a collection, and then just deploy an uninstall package to computers that are in that collection, and it will remove Ask or whatever other application you don't want. I know that before Nate came here, he said one of his crowning achievements was being able to, at the university where he was working, was to remove all dependencies on Java, and he was able to clean out all Java from it. So he would include Java there, and we have great uninstall scripts to just remove, a comprehensive remove of Java. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. But once again, these PDQ A's, I love having questions that we don't know, so that you can
tell us.
Yeah, you can stump us. But there are some times where submit that question several days in advance, because I can
build it.
Lex or Chris. We can build that and say, hey, here's a report, and we will include this as part of the extra content to help you get you started. Go ahead.
Scott would like to know, what can we expect in Deploy 13? Will it finally be able to what?
Okay, if I take that literally, the 3 question marks.
Question everything.
If I take that literally, no, it will not have a 3 question mark feature.
Yes.
If I take that to be a wild card, so Deploy 13, it is in
beta.
It's in a selected beta right now. We're getting ready to go to a public beta. This is going to have what's known as a central server. This will allow you to designate a machine. Most of you will have it be on a server that runs the PDQ Deploy service, and then you could have other console machines that just run the console app that connect to that central server. There are some limitations on licensing. You have to be enterprise, and each connection requires a license. Yep. So if you just have one enterprise license, it's not going to do you a lot of good. But we have a lot of customers that have 12, 13 enterprise licenses, and they're like, we would really like a central server. This would be perfect for you because you designate your server, and then all your other admins will just connect to that, see what everybody's doing. You're not going to be stepping on each other, or it's not as easy to step on each other by deploying the same thing, et cetera, et cetera. So centralized server is a big thing right there.
And I'll say this, I've been working with the people who have been testing it, and so far, epic. They love it, guys. It's really amazing.
Yeah, it is pretty sweet, definitely. Yeah. So centralized server, and then a follow-up is going to be a centralized server for inventory as well. But inventory right now is, even after Deploy 13 comes out, inventory is still going to be, the way it currently. Now this is optional, by the way.
Yeah,
I have to state that this is absolutely optional, and we have plans on offering an optional agent. We like the fact that we have an on-demand agent. The way it currently works, our plan is to always make that available. But for those of you who do want an agent and the extra benefits that provides, we are planning at some point on offering that.
Dear Shane and Lex, how can PDQ identify and remove older domain profiles in Windows 10? I was thinking of using PowerShell, get blah blah blah, nerd, and using lastusetime to figure out which are the older profiles, but Windows 10 seems to renew the date for all profiles here, whether used or not. Sincerely, shaka call.
Hey, Chris, why don't you come over here and answer this one, man?
Chris is laughing. That means Chris actually knows an 80s song, Shaka Khan.
Oh, I missed out on my
He's laughing to
my music
fit
is from the
in.
80s.
All right, so Chris is going to come over here. I'm going to tell you, on Windows 10, yes, if you're using the very famous tool Delprof 2, a successor to Delprof, which was from Microsoft. If you're using Delprof 2, it does look like most of these profiles have been recently updated. It doesn't seem like that they get updated quite often, even though that person clearly that profile hasn't logged on. And the old option in Delprof 2 to base the date off of not ntuser.dat but ntuser.ini, that does not really have an effect in Windows 10. So in using Delprof 2, you're going to have to include the /ID and the /ED a little bit more selectively because the date's just not going to really work out in Windows 10, unfortunately. And Delprof 2 really is a great way. But I'm going to yield to Chris on the PowerShell. Go ahead. If you might want to pull that question back up.
I think I'm okay.
All right.
I've actually got it staged.
He felt the essence of it. He wasn't even looking at this.
Okay, so here's the gist of it: is that, like Shane mentioned, that value for the last use time is not going to be accurate. I mean, I actually have it pulled up here that you can actually see on the screen just for this computer that we're doing stuff on. You can see the SIDs and the last use time for everything, and you can look around here. They're all about the same date, but we don't really log on with this many accounts, but a lot of stuff's getting updated, so you're not going to be able to do it this way. You're going to have to find another identifier that you want to base, has this been used, and then base off that, and then destroy it well. If you are destroying it well, though, I do want to point out one thing that you need to account for is when you delete the user profile, that's all fine and dandy for the NT-user DAP file, which is the user's hive, but you also need to go delete the reference in the HG local machine for the profile list for that SID. If you don't, when you log on to that, if that user ever logs back onto this computer after deleting the profile, if that entry still exists in the profile list, they'll just get a temporary profile every time they log in. Like, bad. So what I'm talking about is in the registry. I'll just show you real quick. We'll run, we'll regedit, and I will center this somewhat because magic. So
magic. We consider centering a screen magic here. So take everything with a grain of salt.
This is 1983 again.
You can move that window.
Thanks, Xerox.
So
thanks, Dodge.
We're happy. So in here, you have the full path here: the HKLM, software, Microsoft, Windows NT, current version, profile. Excuse me, not profile grid. I am messing up. Profile list. That's what I meant to select. Under here is where you see the list of all the profiles that are on the machine. Make sure to remove the appropriate one so that you don't end up with temp profiles if they ever log on again.
I want to hurry and just look at something. Stick with me on this one. I want to see, Adam and I had this problem. Now we had this problem years ago, and I want to just see. I'm going to go to users. We'll do Trixie here.
But you don't have access.
Oh, I will. Oh, okay. There, and maybe it's in. Adam and I kind of ran into this problem years ago, and we didn't want to use ntuser.dat or ntuser.ini, so we actually started using the desktop ini. We found that in some cases to be more accurate. Because that required an actual interactive logon to change that date. But
that's a good point to start on. And once you do that, again with PowerShell, if you do that, just use delete for the user profiles, but also remember this location in the registry, this key. So,
all right, cool.
And it's via SID, so know how to get the SID. It's really easy if you're in Active Directory. Get AD user, get the user, one of the properties or the attributes in Active Directory is SID. So anyway.
Get the hell out of here.
Oh.
Stealing my thunder, Chris.
Dear Shane, Lex, and Chris,
Maybe.
I noticed some PDQ Deploy packages have lines to make registry keys to disable auto-updating. Can we get packages that don't have those strings so I don't have to edit them every time the package updates? Kind of like how Java has the alternate packages. Thanks, sincerely, Jason S.
Don't move that question yet. I'm trying to I'm sorry. Have lines to make registry key. Oh, okay. So I think by lines. Okay, you're talking about
so instead of pre and post
steps.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about steps. All right. I certainly hope you weren't talking about lines of code. All right, because we're gonna have to bring Chris back up here. Can we get? All right. So, good question. We are hoping to address this in a future feature where we're going to kind of take the ability of auto deployment packages and kind of make them into imported packages, kind of tie them into just imported packages anyway, where you can remove certain steps that you want. We tinkered with this, Jason, early on of, okay, let's allow them to disable some steps, but we really ran into problems where they could effectively disable everything, and for an auto deployment that doesn't make
Yeah.
that doesn't make a lot of sense. Some people really not just wanted command steps or PowerShell steps. They also wanted to modify command line parameters of the install steps, and we're just like pretty soon it came to be such a
monster.
a cluster that we just said yeah. So for right now, in order to do that, we don't have plans on making a bunch of alternate packages that don't remove auto update, mainly because if there's a way to remove the auto updating feature of an application, the overwhelming number of our clients prefer that. So we don't want to have a bunch of alternates that remove that ability. That being said, you can, on those packages that you use, it's just going to be an extra step for you as the new versions come out, import, attach, modify that step or remove that step or disable it, and attach that to your schedule.
Yep.
Once you attach it, that program or that package, that computer history wipes out, and computers can get that new package sans the removing auto update. So
Yeah.
it's still an extra step for you right now, not an auto deployment. Sorry.
Dear Shane and Lex, is there a way to set up an email notification when a recently added device scans successfully for the first time? Sincerely, Monica K.
That is not a native feature right now. There might be some ways that you can automate that. I mean, I say
Chris
that
is over there going
mainly
like
because
this. PowerShell. You didn't see him?
do you want to hurry and address this?
Jump up.
Yes.
All right, I'll step out. So
You'll step out.
They can see your good looking mug.
Dude, I just I look over and Chris is like this.
Got this one. Let me in, coach.
This is wonderful. This is one of those questions I wish I've had a little bit of, one of the, like Shane was mentioning, time to actually give you something to present. But one of the fields in the database for the computers has that if it's been scanned or not, and successfully. And you can base that. And so if you have, say, PowerShell, you can use send mail message just to actually get that sent straight from your PowerShell script and actually have that run. You might be able to set up a trigger to actually do that when things get modified. Anyway, that's really all I have to say. So.
That's how you do it? PowerShell?
Yeah.
Off that
if you have any
trigger,
questions,
off
please.
that field.
Yes,
Okay.
off that field in the database for computers. So, anyway, that's about it. But let me know if you run into issues because I'm happy to help.
That was a lot of, I can do it for that answer.
I've done something similar in the past. Is why I say that.
Okay.
It's because I've wondered. Okay, now when new things get added, I want to know when something's added.
Yeah.
Say you're doing Active Directory sync. You're doing full sync. Something gets removed. Something gets added. I want to know.
Yeah.
Chris, do
Right?
you want to do a blog post on that?
That's a really good idea. Actually, I'll actually make a note of that. So.
Okay.
Anyway,
Keep an eye on the blog. There might be something about that in the future.
Doodaloo.
I'll do a private blog post, also known as a feature request. Thanks, Monica.
Is that what we call them nowadays?
And Monica, thanks for your participation. You are a stalwart.
We love you. Tolerate you? Is that how we say it around here?
No, we can say love,
Okay.
and we can say we.
That is
in this
allowed.
case.
We can
Okay.
say we.
All right.
Dear Shane and Lex, I ran into an issue where I needed to do a repair on a previous install completed by PDQ. I attempted the repair from the programs on the computer. It aired out the repair and said it was looking for the files from a PDQ directory. On PDQ created packages, are the install files removed after the installation is completed? Is there a way to keep these files intact for future potential fixes? Sincerely, Michael Yu.
Hi, Michael. The answer is yes. If you're using auto deployment and you're relying on auto deployment, then you're going to run into a little bit of a problem. We have a working directory. By default, that working directory is on the admin dollar, which is the Windows directory of your target computers. There's an admin arsenal directory. You'll see a PDQ Deploy runner. I'll center that before JJ
Says it right here. Do it.
And as you deploy software or any deployment, you'll see some directories get created in here. And then once that deployment's finished, the directories, which included the install files, are deleted. So if you want to retain that, let's say I wanted to do that for 7-zip, I would simply come into 7-zip. And you see under the options, and this is important because this is per step, you'll see under the options there's an installation requires source. This means if you're going to ever make a change to it, Snagit is a popular one. If you're ever going to make a change to this, you're going to want to click this, all right? Because what's going to happen, I'm going to hit deploy now to just, I'll deploy it to Guinness so we can see that. Guinness is the computer on which this is running. We'll hit deploy. go back to that Windows directory.
We'll watch the runner.
In the runner, you're going to see this, the service 1, etc. But we should see another directory get created here. 1 second.
Not to spoil it, but that's really going to save your install files.
Yeah, I guess we don't have to wait for the whole thing. The answer is you're going to need to go to options on those steps and say, basically save those source files. And what that does, there are some applications that mark in the registry. Yep, you'll see the installers now. It marks in the registry where those install files came from, so that any attempted removal or modification has this path stored in there, right?
Guess I can get rid of the highlight now.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the answer. Options, and keep that. For the most part, that really is old technology that was done away in early 2000s, where especially the beginning of MSIs, where they required that initial source, and that's really been done away with for years. But there are still some applications that cling to that blindly. That's why it's optional.
Dear Shane and Lex, can you go over again, now or in the future, how to kick off a scan or deployment using Remote PowerShell while including encrypted credentials? Sincerely, Zach.
Why did you say Lex and Shane when we know that we're going to be calling on the Corgi Master?
Dear mostly Chris.
I call upon the Corgi gods. Come down and help us with this PowerShell. So, wonderful question. So,
I kicked your dog.
he kicks himself. It's okay. So, this is really important. We actually have, or if not, it should be there soon, the encrypted credentials. I have 2 blogs on this, to how to manage encrypted credentials and pull them into your PowerShell scripts. Now, it is important, though, that you actually use and create a separate key when doing that, because natively it uses the Windows DP API, which is per user per machine. So that same user on a different machine can't use that same saved encrypted password. So I'll show you real quick kind of what I'm talking about. So, good thing I have this pulled up. Not really. Okay.
Well, while we're doing it, is there a way we could add that to the just links to those blog posts in the bonus content or anything like that? Are they there?
They should be there now. Yeah.
Should be there, as well as I also kept a copy of the script I'm about to show you. So.
Oh, I've noticed it just over the last 20 plus years. I've noticed that admins, once again, talk about cleaning blindly. They do not like to let go of scripts. You'll find old scripts that are just in their archives because I might
use it again.
I might need this again.
Use this.
Yeah, this managing Windows NT is important.
I've got old corn shell scripts still.
Speaking of nerds. Okay, so I'm going to open this guy. Oh, hey, we're actually already there. So maybe I'll just go directly to here. Okay, so this script... there's 2 parts. One part creates the key file and the password, and takes that key file, takes your password, encrypts it, and then saves that to another file. And then the second part is what you're actually going to want to put inside your script that you're running, which then actually grabs that encrypted information as a secure string object. So, really quickly, just this top part, if you were to run just this selection, this will actually create a key file at just the root directory here, C. And then it'll create a password file called password.txt. We can go take a look at that and see how magical that is.
I noticed you have Jordan's password in there.
Let's bring
Jordan
that up all the
posted it
time.
himself.
So
You pulled it off his Facebook wall.
you can see that this is encrypted. This is fantastic. This is what you want, because you don't want to store your passwords in clear text in your scripts, because that's what we call in this business bad.
That's encrypted? I thought you just memorized that.
Oh, well, that too. Just
We're
like
not talking about Adam.
A-Z-D-D-D-A-A-Z.
So this next step is what you're actually going to put inside the PowerShell script. What we're going to do is we're going to grab that file, that encrypted file, use the key while looking at this file, and then we're going to create a credential object from that. So just line by line here, we're going to create username. We're going to use this password file we created, use this key file that we created. In any case, what's going to happen is when you run this selection, and I'll just show you real quick to demonstrate, is you'll end up with this variable called myCredential, which is a credential object. And you can see the username is the username I supplied above called myUsername. I'm creative. If we want to actually see the password, we can actually do that. And done. There we go. Password One, it's wonderful. Use this. It's in the bonus content, and go to town. If you have any questions, let me know. But it's pretty clear, pretty straightforward. So
Way to go.
all the magic.
Thanks, man.
Good job, buddy.
Yay!
Come here.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Are we done?
Yeah, rolling it in today.
Oh,
Ended quick.
yeah. Not enough PowerShell.
Not enough PowerShell. There's never enough PowerShell.
Thanks, you guys, very much. So at this point, subject to change, but we're planning on kind of redoing the Skype webcast that from about a month or so ago. That didn't go quite well. We had a lot of technical difficulties, so we're going to redo that at this point next week. We're going to cover the Skype, the true Skype for business, as well as the Skype for consumers that so many of our customers still use. We'll cover how to manage Skype in your environment. So we're going to do that, and then hopefully we won't have technical difficulties. So thank you very much for checking us out. Rock on.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Congratulations to Abel W. and Scott S., winners of PDQ swag. Get us your info at webcast@pdq.com. And big congratulations to Bob T. You are the winner of our floppy coaster. So, Bob, give us a shout on the chat. Let us know that you are still around, and we'll get this out to you. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you back here next week.